Bam.
Good. All right. Okay, let's get started. This is the last one of these. This is our class that we're going to talk a little bit about focus and about being better faster. Okay? The reason we're talking about this is we want you guys to understand whether you are a 10-year-old softball player or an 18-year-old baseball player, the gap between where you want to be or the success point that you want to be at and where you're starting, we have to close it quickly. Although we have a lot of time between right now and when the season starts, this is something we want you guys to start to put into practice every time you come out here, whether you're hitting with mom and dad or whether you're at a session or whatever, okay? So this is what this is about. We've talked a little bit about leadership, about how to be a good teammate, and now we're moving into that part of this where we're going to talk about being a better player, how to be a better player. Some of these things, there's a lot of information tonight, okay? We're going to go through it quickly. Thanks for coming tonight. We apologize for canceling so late last time, but we were getting a lot of complaints about Friday night football games and stuff like that. I was also out of town, so quite honestly, it worked out pretty good for us because I really want to be a part of it. The first thing we want to talk about is developing specific goals. Those are big words for some of you young guys and for some of you old guys. Caden, I know you're probably struggling with that. I'm kidding. But the point is this, you've got to have goals, right? Okay, if you want to say to yourself, I want to be a better hitter. That's a good goal, but is it very specific? No, it's not. You know, maybe it's I want to have one more hit per game. Maybe it's I want to have 4 quality at bats in a game. Something as specific as that. We're not just talking about hitting. It could be, hey, I want to throw a first pitch strike to everyone I face as a pitcher. Okay, I want to throw a tough 0-2 pitch that's hard to hit, but but something they may chase with 0-2. Those are good goals. Now, how do I get to that point? You got to practice it, put it to the game, and make it happen. So developing specific goals. We want to work towards the goal rather than wandering with no plan. You know, if I say, oh, I want to hit a home run, okay? Does that mean the only thing you should do then is go up to the plate and try to hit a home run? No, because really it's going to take practice, repetition, understanding, technique. All of those things have to happen. So to close that goal, I want to hit a home run. Okay? I don't hit home runs. How do we close that goal? How do we close that gap? Specifically, we say, I'm going to get there, and now I put the ladders in place that get me to it.
Yeah, you have to focus on the process of the goal. You can't just go into it saying, well, I'm just going to hit a home run. Well, you can't just magically be able to do that. You have to focus on what it takes to get to that point.
And that's kind of what we're going to talk about next is focus, a focus plan for success that's measurable. Okay. The reason I say that is, okay, let's say you're a high jumper. That's pretty easy, right? I want to get to 6 feet. Well, if you can't get over 5, you've got a lot of things to change, right? So if you're a hitter, for the example here, that wants to be a better hitter, what does that mean? Hits per game, quality at bats, all of those things. You've got to have a measurable success rate. Meaning, for you young guys, something like this, 300 batting average last year, and you want to bat 400 this year, okay? How many hits would that take? You can look at your stats from last year. You can say, hey, listen, I only got this many hits and I struck out this many times. Maybe by cutting down your strikeouts, maybe by increasing your quality at bats, getting walked more, getting hit a few times, then you get your batting average to raise. Does that make sense?
The biggest thing with goals is you can't make them general, okay? Because then you don't know, it's a gray area. You don't know whether you meet it or not. If it's a measurable goal, which means it's based on numbers, then you can say, did I get 2 or 3? Yes or no. It's clear cut. There's no gray area in your goal.
Does everyone understand the word measurable, you young guys? You know what that means? Everybody?
He doesn't.
Girls too? It just means this. It's something that you can look at that's got either a number to it, meaning like, okay, for example, if last year, AJ, you for example, let's say you go to grandma's house and every time they mark you and see how tall you get every single year. A lot of grandmas do that, right? Yours probably has a tough time because you got a lot of hair on top. She probably has to work it down, maybe grease it back, then put the mark, right? So the thing is, but that's measurable so you can kind of see your progress, right? So in baseball, softball, it's the same thing. It's we want to have a measurable goal, something that we can see that says to us, hey, I'm getting better, I'm getting faster, I'm getting stronger, okay? practice goals versus game goals. The tough thing is, if you want to have a goal that's very much involved with your game, okay, I want to strike out more people per game as a pitcher. Okay, then you also have to have some goals in practice that allow you to get there. Does that make sense? Because like I told you, it's not like, oh, I'm going to strike out more people. That means you only practice it when you get on the mound in a game? No. It means you're going to have to work on an out pitch. You're going to have to work on a way of getting ahead of batters, changing their eye level. We've talked about all this stuff. That's what has to happen in this game versus practice goal.
A lot of people have game goals, like I want to get 2 hits a game, or I want to go 2 for 4, 3 for 4, or not strike out. Okay, those are all game goals. Well, a lot of people forget that you need to have goals for practice too, otherwise you're practicing and you're not really thinking about where you're trying to get. So an example of a practice goal, let's say you're on the tee and you want to take 10 swings. Okay, maybe a measurable goal is you want to make 8 solid contacts off the tee out of 10 pitches. Okay, that's something that you can measure. All right, 1, I got a good solid hit on it. Okay, and then go to 10, and that way then you can see where you're at.
Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. This is going to be really big. If you are going to close the gap between success and failure, you have to be, you can't have any fear of failure. You can't. You've got to allow it to happen. As a matter of fact, in softball and baseball, that's going to happen a lot. Okay? We talked a lot last time about the World Series. How many of you watched the last game of the World Series? Okay? So, would anyone say that Jason Hayward had a great World Series? Some people would say, no, he hit terribly. But what if Jason Hayward's goal was, hey, he's like, I'm not hitting well. His goal was to play defense for his team. Then would you say he had a good World Series? Yeah, he played pretty good defense. So, honestly, we're not in that clubhouse. We're not in his brain. We don't know what he was working on, but we do know this, that he was a part of the World Series championship, made a lot of good plays, ended up being a gold glover, right? So clearly, even though he didn't do what he probably wanted to with his goals on one side, he did it on the other side. Do you think Jason Hayward went up there like, oh gosh, I hope I don't fail. I hope I don't fail. He was still trying. If he comes up here to Player's Choice in the offseason for 1 hour, I can fix him pretty quickly. I don't know what those guys are teaching, but the whole approach is bad. The whole point I'm trying to say though is you can't be afraid of failure, okay? And clearly he was not afraid of failure in the field. At the plate, maybe he had a little bit of doubt in his mind, that's why he struggled. But every accomplishment, great or small, starts with the words, I'll try. I grew up in a household that was very competitive and a little bit negative at times. We don't have to talk too much about it, but I will tell you this, the irony of it, for you guys who are young, the irony means like, okay, it was negative and competitive, but on our wall, we had this poster that said, every accomplishment, great or small, starts with the words, I'll try. Okay? And I guess what my mom was trying to say to us was, you can't quit and succeed. You've got to believe and say, I'm going to try this. When that happens, a lot of times, we can't be afraid to fail. We've got to be okay with the idea that I'm going to try something with no fear to fail. And confidence without hesitation. Do not be a cautious player. We played, the 10U team played on Tuesday night, and we had some players who never played with us and some players who had played with us. And you could tell the difference because the guys who played with us were just bumping bases, taking bases left and right, fully confident, looking at the other guys like, hey, come on, man, take your bases. By the end of the game, we got those guys to buy in, to believe. They weren't afraid anymore. And they were really aggressive. We won that game, okay? But they were very cautious because they didn't want to upset coach. They didn't want to upset their teammates. But the thing is, we're trying to talk about this. Every accomplishment, great or small, starts with 2 words, I'll try. Now, what happens if the slowest guy on the team tries to take second base on a pass ball that's not very far and gets thrown out? Okay, at that point, though, we're teaching this as a coaching staff, softball and baseball, we don't care. Because at least that person is going to learn early, hey, am I fast enough to take this? Am I slow enough to, too slow to get out? That's the point. You have to find that out for yourself, and that's where this comes from. That's where you close the gap. You can't be afraid to fail. You've got to have confidence. You've got to go for it. The minute it happens, the second it happens, when you see it, okay? Be eager to try a new idea or technique. We have a lot of young men and girls who come into our batting cages. I'm telling you this right now, and they have been told so many things. and they've been told some crazy stuff, nuts stuff, okay? To the point where I go, hey, we need to really talk about this because your bat is in such a bad position. It would be the equivalent of someone trying to swim while taking both hands and tying them to their ankles and then jumping in the water. I'm serious, you know, like their bat's like, well, someone told me it's supposed to be really high and they're hitting from here. Or someone told me I should put my elbows up really high, okay? Now, this may seem funny to you, but you'd be amazed. We have 260 people in our program. I would say 60 people right now have something wrong with their hands. I would say 80% of the people do not have full rotation of their hips, okay? And we're a good program. We're teaching this stuff, but it's that fear of trying something new that's stopping them from getting to that 100% point where they let loose completely. And that's what you have to think about closing the gap.
Yeah. People don't like change. I'm sure you've heard it 100 times. No one likes to change what they're doing. They're comfortable. Okay? You gotta step outside your comfort zone and just try. Okay? Because if you're not hitting 1,000, there's room for improvement, right? So you gotta step outside that comfort zone and just give it a try. Okay? Don't be afraid to do it.
No, I'm gonna use a bad word, but stupid. People are so afraid of looking bad in front of their friends. You're afraid of looking stupid, right? I am, you know, I don't want to look like an idiot in front of the people I work, you know, that work for me. I want them to think that I'm a good leader and I'm a good guy, even when I'm telling jokes when they're bad. But the point I'm trying to say is, you know, you can't be afraid of looking bad because sometimes you're going to look bad. You have to get past that to get better. And the other part about it is you got to be okay with failing. You've got to try it and fail a little bit and succeed. Okay? I know you play basketball. Okay? The first time you shot a basketball was perfect. No, but that thing is though, you just kept shooting and you just kept shooting. And I've been to some of your games. Some of your teammates, they keep shooting a lot. And they shoot basketball. But the thing is, they keep shooting until you get a good shot, right? It takes time. Well, if you fail the first time and you quit, I can't help it. You know what I mean? You've got to understand if you fail 100%, that's actually a good thing because then you can make adjustments, all right? And sometimes, Reese, like we talked about, you can have a really bad swing after you've had a good one, but as long as you have an open mind and stay relaxed and understand it and then make small adjustments, the next thing you know, you're back on track and it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So you can't feel bad about failing or looking bad, okay? If that's the only thing that motivates you, looking bad, then actually it's a pretty strong motivator. It is. But at the same time, you have to understand that it's okay to screw up once in a while. I want you to screw up once in a while. I really do, not so I can yell at you. Eli, you would probably argue that. But the thing is, though, it's because I want you to see that, hey, sometimes it doesn't work that way. We should try it differently. Okay? But that is probably one of the best ways to learn. Okay? Like, for example, go back to when you were a young one, okay? Did anyone ever come close to the stove when it was hot? Okay, did you do it again? You know, you did it twice? Okay, so you burned it. Hey, that feels great. I really like that. I know how the Anderson family works over there. I'm kidding. Dad's over there. I'm real proud. But seriously, like, you know, think about that. You know, the first time you burn yourself, you're like, I'm probably going to be a little more cautious, right? But the first time, that's that aggressiveness, but you learn something, and then from there, we can do things intelligently. For you, who knows? Maybe the 8th time's the charm. Okay? If you come in here with a pan mark on your face, I'll know what happened. Remember, the iron is not a telephone, so don't answer it.
Oh.
Why would the iron be ringing?
Like that sounds.
All right. Now I know this is a great picture. We didn't put a lot of pictures in these things. I'll get to this in a second, okay? I'm going to let Kellen talk a little bit about this, but one pitch at a time, one play at a time.
Okay, so in college, we talked about this a lot because when you're in a game, you can get so consumed with everything that's going on. There's so much going on. There's a play here, an error, people in the dugout talking. Okay, you need to be able to break everything down in a game and focus on that one pitch at a time. Okay, so you're focused. You're up to bat and you got one pitch. Okay, all right, you swing and miss. That pitch is over. You go to the next pitch. It's one at a time. Okay, then you go to one at bat at a time after your bat's over. Then you go one inning at a time, one game at a time, because you can only focus on so much. You can't overwhelm yourself with focusing on everything that goes on in a game.
the word process means. I know it's a big word. Sarah, you understand what that means? Okay. Like for example, my process typically to get up, take a shower, get dressed, and go to work. In the last 3 days, I have not been able to do that, which is why I'm in the same clothes that I've been in for 3 days, which is I've been mocked by Kellen for the last 48 hours. It just, things happen. People get busy, okay? The process of winning, the process of quality at bats, think about how it happens, okay? How do we win? I always make fun of you guys, and I always say things like this. You know, the game hasn't changed in 150 years. Help me out if you heard me say this. You get to first, then you get to second, then you get to third, then you get to home, and if you do that more than the other team, you win the game, right? So the process of winning has a lot to do with simply getting on base, getting moved over, getting home. The process of winning has a lot to do with not letting people get on base, not letting them move over, and not letting them get home. So if you focus on those simple things every single time, what happens to a lot of us is, though, we have a couple of moments where maybe there's first and third, and there's a base hit to me out and right. I missed the cutoff man. The first baseman goes, runs and gets it, catches it, tries to throw somebody out at third. They miss the play. Next thing you know, we're down 3-0. Okay? That's really what happens, okay? Because you're not focused on the art of winning, the process of winning, which is holding people to less bases. It's as simple as that. And when young people do that, it's understandable. When older people do that, we get crazy, okay? So young people, we push you not to do it. We expect you guys to never do it. Does that make sense? Okay? But that's how we have to think. The process of winning, the process of quality at bats. What's a quality at bat? Can anyone tell me what that is? What's a quality at bat?
When you like go up to bat and then like you don't strike, like you miss the first pitch and then you bowl again and then like you maybe miss it or maybe
Keep going with that idea. Keep going.
like you get on base and then like
Okay, both those are good answers. Was this. You go up there, you have a good plan, you know, if you miss one, it's okay, move on to the next pitch, that's good. He also said, hey, make the pitcher throw more pitches. That's a good thing. Ask any pitcher here, softball or baseball, the more pitches you throw, the less good you feel about the situation. Also, if you have someone make him throw 6 to 7 pitches, and the next guy makes him throw 6 to 7 pitches, you see what I'm saying? How many guys watched the World Series and that number just kept popping and popping and popping? You know, it's like when those guys are getting close to 60, that's when you see Joe Madden turn around and start talking to Chris Bosio because he knows it's time to start getting somebody else in. The more pitches you can make them have, you see what I'm saying? So the point of that is, you know, you're pushing them. And that's why we're going to transition right into the World Series example. So many people, Pete Rose, not really sure why he was on the commentary for Fox. He's a little bit whacked out. I mean, I think it was just so they could have somebody to laugh at. Frank Thomas is talking, Alex Rodriguez, all these guys are talking, and they're saying all these things like, I don't know why Joe Madden did this, and I don't know why Joe Madden did that, and I don't know why he did this. Why did Terry Francona do this? Why did he do that? Okay? Well, what happened was the Cubs won. Now, whether or not Chapman, I'm sure there's a college coach standing right there. There's a really good chance he probably would have left Hendrickson. I probably would have left Hendrickson. We all would have left Hendrickson. But the thing is, Joe Madden, he was focused on the moment, that situation. And he knew, based on what he knew from his pitchers, what he knew from his players, he knew exactly what he wanted to do. And he doesn't care what Pete Rose says. Let Pete Rose second guess him all day long, okay? Pete Rose made some bad decisions too. He probably need a little assistance as well. But the point I'm trying to say is, you know, here's Joe Madden making these decisions, and clearly it ended up as a win. So who are we to say what he should do or what he shouldn't do? You know what I'm saying? It's momentary, that moment. What are we doing next? The reason we bring up the quality at bats, though, is because quality at bats means we move runners. We get on base ourselves. We get walked. We get hit by a pitch. We have a double. We make a pitcher throw 12 pitches, foul off 7 pitches, and then get out. But we made him burn himself. We made her burn herself to get past us. So that's what we're trying to say. Focus on that now, not the later. And Kellen wants to say more about this, I'm sure, because that's like her favorite thing about the now, not the later. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can't worry about the outcome. Like, everybody wants to win, but in order to win, you have to worry about what happens in every inning, and you have to worry about what it takes to get to that point. Because you can't just sit there in the first inning and think about, oh, well, in the 7th inning, we're going to be winning. Like, you have to work to that point and think about it.
So I guess that's the point I was trying to say too about Chapman. You know, everyone's like, why did he bring him in at that point? Why did he bring in this guy at this point? Well, here's the thing. He needed to get an out. And he knew he was his out getter. So he put him in there. Whether it was too soon or too late, you gotta worry about that later because you gotta get past this moment. Okay? If those guys would have hit a home run there against a bad pitcher, everyone would have been like, why did he put Chapman in? You know what I mean? So it's that moment. That's why he made that decision. Now, we're going to get to this this lion here. The last thing there, to win the war, you need to focus on every battle. But one of the things that we're trying to say is one thing at a time, one pitch at a time. Has anyone ever seen this picture before in terms of leadership discussions? Okay. A long time ago, I saw this, and this is why we put it in there. It's because you're going to laugh at this. I always tell ridiculous history stories, and I do my best to give as much information as I can here. So this guy, I think his last name's Geary, is that right? I think his last name's Geary. He's the guy in the picture here. Prior to 1900, this is going to shock you guys, one of the most dangerous, I say laugh every time I do this, one of the most dangerous occupations in the world was lion tamer. I wonder why. Because there's a lion there and he's trying to eat you, okay? And in the past, before this, no one ever used a chair. And this guy was a pretty smart fella and he figured out, number one, if I put this chair between me and the lion, most likely I can keep him away a little bit more and use the whip, okay? Not a great thing. These days, circuses really don't do that anymore. But anyway, the point is this. He had that chair there, and what is on the bottom of a chair?
That's
Gum, that's a good answer. Legs, you said that. How many legs?
4.
Yeah, so what happened is that when you put that in the face of the lion had a tough time because he was looking at 4 legs and he wasn't sure exactly what to do with it. And they found that the lions wouldn't attack. So out of nowhere, here comes this guy, uses the chair, probably because he just wanted to make distance between them. But the fact was the lion was messed up by the 4 pegs, okay? The point I'm trying to make is 4 things, too much to think about, crazy lion. Okay, I'm not gonna attack, right? But think about it this way. We don't want you to be the lion, okay? We want you to be 1 peg in it, 1 thing, 1 pitch, 1 inning, 1 hit. Does that make sense? So the reason we bring this up there is because it's really obvious, okay, that too much in the brain, too much thinking can affect focus, can affect you ultimately getting to the success point.